Have you ever wanted to speak German but just felt stuck on where to even begin? Well, get ready, because in the next 5 minutes, we are going to build your very first real German conversation from scratch. No fluff, just the essentials you need to actually speak. Let's get started. And hey, we're not doing this alone. To help us out, we've got these little guys. They're going to be our guides, walking us through every single step of a natural conversation. Think of them as your personal language buddies for the day. So, here's the deal. By the time we get to the end of this, you will have all the key phrases you need to introduce yourself, ask about someone else, and say goodbye, all in German. It's a complete conversation. You ready for this? Let's jump right in. Okay, before we learn a single hello, we have to talk about the absolute most important thing in German conversation. Seriously, this isn't just about vocabulary. It's about showing respect. And it all comes down to knowing the difference between du and Sie. You can think of this rule as the master key to being polite in German. Picking the right you shows people that you get the culture, and honestly, it's the foundation for everything else we're about to cover. If you get this right, you are already making an amazing first impression. So let's break it down. It's actually pretty simple. On the left, you've got du. That's your casual, informal you. You use it with friends, family, kids, people you know well. Easy enough. On the right, we have Sie. And notice it's always capitalized. This is your formal, respectful you. You're going to use this with strangers, older folks, in any kind of business setting. Here's the pro tip. If you're ever in doubt, just use Sie. It's always better to be a little too polite than not polite enough. All right, now that we have the golden rule in our back pocket, we can actually start talking. So let's kick off our conversation with the absolute basics, saying hello and, of course, asking for a name. Here are your 4 main ways to say hi. Hello is kind of like the universal hello. It's simple, friendly, and works almost any time. If you want to be a little more specific to the time of day, you've got Guten Morgen for the morning, Guten Tag for the afternoon, and Guten Abend for the evening. Honestly, Guten Tag is a fantastic one to remember because it covers most of the day. And boom, right away, you can see our golden rule in action. See that? To ask what's your name, you'd ask a friend, Wie heißt du? But in a more formal situation, you'd switch to Wie heißen Sie? Did you also notice how the verb, the word heißen? Okay, awesome. We've said hello, we've swapped names. The conversation is actually happening. So what comes next? Well, usually you'd ask where someone is from, and of course, ask how they're doing. And would you look at that? There's that pattern again. Woher kommst du is the informal way you'd ask a classmate or friend. Woher kommen Sie is that formal version you'd use with a shopkeeper or a new colleague. The basic words are the same, but it's that little change from du to Sie and the verb ending that makes all the difference. You're starting to see how it works, right? Answering this is super easy. You just say, Ich komme aus, and then your country. Ich komme aus Canada. Ich komme aus India. For most countries, that's all there is to it. Now, there are a few exceptions, like Switzerland, die Schweiz, that need a little extra word, but don't even worry about that for now. Ich komme aus is the key phrase you need. Ah, the classic, how are you? This is just essential for any polite chat. Informally with a friend, you ask, Wie geht es dir? A lot of the time, you'll hear this shortened to a super casual Wie geht's. For more formal settings, you'll use Wie geht es Ihnen? It's just a perfect example of how German bakes that concept of politeness right into its grammar. So what do you say back? Well, hopefully you're doing sehr gut, which means very good, or maybe just gut, good. Now here's a crucial tip. Always try to say danke, thank you, and then ask the question back. You'd say und dir, informally, or und Ihnen, formally. And if you're just feeling so-so, es geht is a super common way to say I'm okay. Okay, so we've been using all these phrases and we've seen these little patterns pop up. Let's take just 1 minute to peek under the hood and see what's actually going on with the grammar. I promise, it's way simpler than it looks. This table right here, this is basically the secret decoder ring for German verbs. Just look at the endings. Whenever you say ich or I, the verb almost always ends in an I. See? Komme, heiße. When you use du, the verb gets an st at the end. And for the formal Sie, it gets an N. That's the system. Now, the verb sein, to be, it's a bit of a weirdo. It's irregular. But ich bin and du bist are so important, they're definitely worth just memorizing. And here is where it all clicks into place. Look at this example. Ich goes with komme, with that I ending. Then the question flips it around to du, so the verb has to change to kommst, with the st ending. It's not random at all. It's a predictable pattern. And once you see that pattern, the language really starts to open up. Well, we've had a fantastic conversation. We introduced ourselves, we asked where we're from, we asked how we're doing. Now, there's only one thing left to do. End the conversation politely. You've basically got two main choices here. Auf Wiedersehen is the classic, more formal goodbye. It literally means something like until we see again. But day to day, in almost any casual situation, you are going to hear tschüss all the time. It's the simple, friendly, go-to way to say bye. All right, you've seen all the puzzle pieces. You've seen how they fit together. Now it is your turn to actually speak. This is your chance to use everything we've just learned and put it into practice. Okay, here's your 4-step challenge. I want you to pause in just a second and try to translate these lines into German. Just think back to everything we covered. For number 2, remember to use the formal you. For number 3, remember that Switzerland was that one special case we mentioned. And for number 4, you've got both the question and the answer. Go ahead, pause right here and give it your best shot. And that's it. You did it. Seriously, you now have every single piece you need for a basic, polite, and totally complete conversation in German. You know the golden rule, you know how to say hi, how to introduce yourself, ask some questions, and say goodbye. The biggest takeaway here is this. You are no longer someone who knows zero German. You're a German speaker who just had your very first conversation. The only question is, what will your next one be? Have you ever had that moment you learn to say hello in German, you say it, and then just crickets? Yeah, we're going to fix that today. We are going to level up your German, get you past that first greeting, and right into a real, actual conversation. Let's do this. So you've just met someone. You've totally nailed the hello. And then what's next? It's that classic, super awkward pause, right? The one where your brain is just frantically flipping through a dictionary, trying to find the next thing to say. And this little doodle just captures that feeling perfectly, doesn't it? That's you on the left, feeling pretty good about your greeting. And on the right is the other person just waiting. That right there is the dreaded conversational void. But don't you worry, we are about to fill that blank space with some amazing, super easy to use conversation starters. Okay, first up, let's talk about the universal #1 icebreaker, what you do for a living. I mean, in pretty much any culture, asking about someone's job is the perfect, safe way to get the ball rolling. So how do you ask it? It's pretty simple, but it's all about context. If you're in a formal situation, like a business meeting or talking to someone a lot older, you're going to use Was machen Sie beruflich? But if you're just chatting with someone your age, maybe a new friend, the casual Was machst du beruflich is definitely the way to go. Now, when it's your turn to answer, you got to remember this one golden rule. In English, we say I am a doctor or I am a teacher. Well, in German, you just drop that A. You literally say Ich bin Arzt. I am doctor. I know, it feels a little weird at first, but trust me, that's just classic German efficiency for you. And here are a few different ways you can phrase your answer. You could say, Ich bin Architekt von Beruf, which is a bit like saying, I'm an architect by profession. A little more common, though, is Ich arbeite als Journalist. I work as a journalist. Or you can just say where you work. Ich arbeite bei Tech Corp. And of course, it's always good to know how to say you're a student or if you're unemployed. Oh, and here's another key detail. German job titles are often gender-specific. For most jobs, if you're a woman, you just add an "in" to the end of the word. So a male teacher is der Lehrer, and a female teacher becomes die Lehrerin. It's a simple thing, but it's really important to get right. So once you've broken the ice talking about work, conversations usually start to get a little bit more personal. So let's dive into how to talk about relationships and family. And just like with the job question, we've got our formal and informal ways to ask Sind Sie verheiratet or Bist du verheiratet? And the answer's super straightforward. You can be single, verheiratet, which means married, or geschieden, for divorced. And don't be surprised if this question comes up. It's very standard stuff for small talk in Germany. And what about kids? Oh, this part's really easy. You just use the verb haben, which means to have. So, ich habe 2 Kinder is I have 2 children. And if you don't have any, you say ich habe keine Kinder. That little word keine is so useful. It means no or none. All right, after work and family, what's next? Age is another pretty common topic. But Talking about your age in German means we finally have to tackle one of the most famous quirks of the entire language, the numbers. In English, this is a piece of cake. We say the tens, then the ones. 20, 1. Simple. But German, well, German likes to do things its own way. It takes that simple logic and just flips it completely on its head. And this brings us to what I call the backward rule. For any number between 21 and 99, you actually say the ones digit first, then you say und, which means and then you say the tens digit. So your brain literally has to think 1 and 20. Let's use 21 as our guinea pig. It becomes 21. You see it? Ein for 1, und for and, 20 for 20. 1 and 20. Once you get that pattern down, it works for every number up to 99. So what would 54 be? 4 and 50. 54. Give it a try. 54. All right, we've got all this great new vocabulary, but to make it all work, we need to power up our verbs. Think of them as the engine that makes every single one of these sentences actually go. So let's look at the verb arbeiten, which means to work. The main part of the verb, the stem, ends in a T. Now just try for a second to say, du arbeitst. It's a total tongue twister, right? German agrees. So it does something so brilliantly logical. It just pops in an extra E to make it flow. So you get du arbeitest and arbeitet. It's a rule that's only there to make speaking easier for you. Exactly. This isn't some crazy grammar rule designed to trip you up. Honestly, think of it as a little gift from the German language. That extra E is your best friend. It's going to make your pronunciation sound so much smoother and more natural. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. We've got vocabulary, numbers, and even a key grammar rule. So now I think it's time to put all that new knowledge to the test. It's your turn to speak. First one, you're in a professional setting, a business meeting. How would you ask someone what they do for a living? Remember to use that formal you. Think you got it? Question number 2. Let's put a couple of pieces together here. How would you say, I work as an engineer, male, at BMW? Think about that sentence structure, the right word for a male engineer, and how to mention the company. All right, time to play the numbers game. Remember that backward rule we talked about? 34 becomes 4 and 30. How does that sound in German? And for our final challenge, let's combine marital status and family. How would you put all those pieces together to say, she is divorced and has 2 children in one nice, clean German sentence? You guys did fantastic. Now don't be shy. Take your best shot at those questions and drop your answers down in the comments below. The absolute best way to learn is just to try, even if you think you're gonna make a mistake. Viel Erfolg, and we'll see you in the next one. Ohne Witz, guys, no cap. There is a magic German word that literally has absolutely 0 English translation. None. No way to translate it directly. Well, today, I'm gonna blow your mind and arm you with the ultimate German comeback word. Welcome back to the Explainer series. I'm your teacher, and today we're spilling the tea on your family tree, figuring out how to talk about languages, and yeah, unlocking a conversational weapon so powerful, you'll seriously wonder how you ever spoke without it. So, what exactly is this magic comeback word? Well, actually, I'm holding it hostage right now. Don't hate me. I promise to reveal it and exactly how to use it in just a few minutes. But first, we are going to run through 3 rapid-fire grammar sprints to level up your German right here, right now. No slow, boring academic pauses today, okay? Are you ready? Sprint number 1 starts right now. Okay, sprint 1. The E-drama. Listen, stop introducing your family wrong in German. Seriously. To say my, you gotta do a quick vibe check on the gender of that family member. If it's a masculine word, like der Vater, the father, you just use mein. Super simple. Mein Vater. But if it's a feminine word, like die Mutter, the mother, oh, she absolutely demands that extra E on the end. It becomes meine Mutter. You gotta respect the E rule. Let's actually put this rule into action. Say you want to introduce your brother. You drop the E and just say, das ist mein Bruder. But the very second you switch to your sister, boom, you gotta add that E right back in. Das ist meine Schwester. And hey, it works for plurals too. Like, das sind meine Eltern. Krass, right? Crazy. Just drill it into your head right now. Mein Bruder, meine Schwester. Bam, sprint number 2. German verbs literally love to shape-shift. Take the verb sprechen, to speak. For ich, which means I, it's totally normal, right? Ich spreche. But watch what happens when you switch to du, you, or er and sie, he and she. That little vowel e wildly mutates into an I. It's crazy. Du sprichst, er spricht. It's a total vowel shapeshifter. So let's put that shapeshifter to work right now. I want to ask you directly. Welche Sprachen sprichst du? What languages do you speak? Did you notice that I hiding in sprichst? Now, if you can confidently answer me with Ich spreche Englisch und ein bisschen Deutsch, then honestly, I have to say, mega geil. Super cool. All right, sprint number 3. This one is absolutely crucial for sounding 100% local. It's all about your sentence melody. Notice the pitch. If you're using a W question, like wer or wie, your voice actually has to drop down at the end. Try it with me. Wie heißt deine Frau? See how it drops? But if it's a yes or no question starting with a verb, your voice shoots right up. Sprichst du Deutsch? Master this up and down pitch drop and läuft bei dir. You're doing amazing. Okay, phew, take a breath. The sprints are officially over. Welcome to the boss fight. Here is the ultimate payoff I promised you. The magic word is Doch. This is literally your untranslatable weapon against negative questions. In English, if someone asks you a negative question and they're just dead wrong, figuring out how to say on the contrary, yes, I am, is like super clunky and confusing. But in German, we just drop the magic word Doch. Let's see this play out in a sassy, lightning-fast conversational volley. Imagine a guy sees a girl without a wedding ring. He asks a negative question. Bist du nicht verheiratet? Are you not married? Now, if she is married, she can't just say ja, because that kind of implies, yes, your negative statement is right. I am not married. Instead, she fights back. She claps back with, Doch, ich bin verheiratet. Actually, yes, on the contrary, I am married. Whenever someone throws a negative statement your way and they're completely wrong, you just hit them with a Doch. That is absolutely hammer. So awesome. Okay, now let's see if you can wield this weapon yourself. It is high-stakes, pop-quizzed time. I'm challenging all my polyglot curious viewers out there today. Person A asks, are you not from Germany? And person B needs to fire back. Actually, yes, I am from Germany. So how exactly do you translate this specific negative interaction using your brand new magic word? So, do you take a W or an L today? Drop your pop quiz translations down below this explainer. I'm going to be pinning the correct answers so you can check your work. Did you get the E-drama, the shapeshifter, the pitch drop, and the magic word? If this explainer blew your mind, be sure to hit that like button. But before you go, just think about this for a second. If just one tiny untranslatable word can completely flip the power dynamic of a conversation, what other secret weapons is the German language hiding? Keep practicing your Doch, and I'll see you next time. Tschüss! Welcome to today's explainer. We're diving straight into a massive dose of high-energy German grammar, and honestly, the rules we're looking at today are absolutely wild. I am so pumped to break this all down for you. But first, did you know that in German, a table is a he, but a bed is an IT? Seriously, it's true. Oh, and a lamp? A lamp is a she. Just let that sink in for a quick second. Onowitz, no cap, German grammar is totally wild. Welcome, I'll be your guide for this explainer, and we are setting a breathless pace today. We're going to cover furniture, big numbers, and eventually master a crazy pronoun rule that low-key confuses literally every English speaker. Let's get right into it. All right, launching right into rapid-fire micro-lesson number 1, the vibe check. Specifically, we're talking about die Möbel, furniture. Now, in English, you just use the word the. Kind of boring, right? But in German, we have 3 mandatory articles. And when you learn a new word, you absolutely must learn its article. So masculine is der, like der Tisch for the table, der Stuhl for the chair, and der Schrank for the closet. Neutral is das, like das Bett for the bed and das Sofa. And feminine is die, like die Lampe. Now, my ultimate pro tip for you, please do not sleep on color-coding your vocabulary lists for these genders. It's mega geil, and your brain will totally thank you later. Now, what's really interesting here is how quickly we can flex our brand new vocabulary by learning some essential opposites to describe all that furniture. Try to repeat these after me in your head, okay? We've got groß, which is big, versus klein, which is small. Then there's teuer, expensive, versus billig, cheap. And finally, schwer, heavy, versus light, light. Boom. You literally need these to describe the whole vibe of your room. But wait, hold on. Before we go further, I need to explain the red flag versus green flag rule of describing things. This is the classic very versus too trap. So sehr means very. It's a total green flag. You can confidently say, der Tisch ist sehr schön, meaning the table is very beautiful. But zu means too, and that is a major red flag. It means there's a literal problem. For example, der Tisch ist zu groß means the table is too big, like it won't even fit in your room. Mixing these up and using sehr when you actually mean zu is absolute quatsch. It's nonsense. So, keep your green flags green. Okay, let's seamlessly pivot to getting that bag. We need to talk about prices and big numbers. You probably already know 1 to 100, but let's level up. 100 is 100, 1,000 is 1,000, and 1,000,000 is eine Million. And here's the absolute best part. Combining them to say prices like 823 is literally just stacking Lego blocks. You just say 823, literally 823. Crazy, right? Now you can drop the ultimate shopping question, was kostet das Bett? And easily answer, das Bett kostet 499 Euro. All right, time to spill the tea on German pronunciation. You might be wondering, why do some words sound really drawn out, while others are quick and punchy? Well, it's all about the consonants. Short vowels happen when a vowel is followed by a double consonant, like a double T or double L. You say it super fast, bet, billig. But long vowels happen when a vowel is followed by a single consonant or an H. You just drag it out. Stuhl, sehr. Let's use some rapid-fire repetition to really drill this. Fast, bet, billig, slow, Stuhl, sehr. Läuft bei dir. You've totally got this. Okay, we are delaying the gratification no further. It is time for the boss fight, object pronouns. English speakers, listen to me very closely right now. You absolutely cannot just use the word it for everything. If you're talking about a table or a bed, you can't just slap an it on there and call it a day in German. No way. And this brilliantly illustrates the crazy payoff rule we've been building towards this whole time. You must replace object nouns with er, s, and sie to match their grammatical gender energy. So, Rule 1, der becomes er or he. Der Tisch ist groß, kostet 300 Euro. Basically, he costs 300 euros. Rule 2, das becomes es or it. Das Bett ist modern, es ist praktisch. And Rule 3, die becomes sie or she. Die Lampe ist hässlich, sie ist zu teuer. Make it make sense, right? But hey, don't panic. Germans don't actually believe a table is a biological male. Simply gives off masculine grammar energy. Make sense? Awesome. All right, we're going to end this explainer with a quick pop quiz to see if you take a W or an L today. Translate this exact sentence into German. The closet is too big. It is very heavy. Quick hint, check the grammatical gender of the word closet that we learned earlier. I demand your answers in the comments below, and I'll be pinning the correct ones. If you survive the boss fight today, make sure to subscribe for more fast-paced explainers. Mach's gut. Tschüss. Stop saying nicht for everything. Today is the ultimate Nicht versus Kein showdown. Willkommen, everyone, to Lesson 5 of our German Masterclass. I am your teacher, and I am absolutely thrilled to finally help you conquer one of the biggest, most common beginner mistakes in the entire German language. Los geht's, let's get started. Seriously, if you've been using nicht to say not for literally every single sentence you speak, you really need to pay close attention right now. We are finally going to solve the ultimate German mystery of Nicht versus Kein. But before we get to that epic boss fight, we need to gather our tools. We're breaking this explainer down into fast-paced 20-second micro-lessons to get you speaking fluently and fast. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the pocket check, looking at everyday objects. Okay, so we already know the definite articles, right? Der, das, and die for the. But today, we're learning the indefinite articles. The words for a or an. In German, this word depends entirely on the gender of the noun. And to help us out, our fantastic potato friends are here, one masculine and one feminine. Here is the golden rule. If the noun is masculine, a der word, or neutral, a das word, the word for a is simply ein. So, der Schlüssel becomes ein Schlüssel, thus handy, the cell phone, becomes ein Handy. But if the noun is feminine, a D word, you just add an E to the end. So die Tasche becomes eine Tasche. Oh, and fun fact, die Brille, which means glasses, is actually singular in German. So you'd say eine Brille. Keeping that momentum going, here is Section 2, Descriptive Details, focusing on colors and materials. You can instantly expand your vocabulary with just a few basic descriptors. For colors, we have blau for blue, rot for red, and schwarz for black. You've also got gelb, grün, weiß, and braun. And what about shapes and properties? Well, there's rund for round, eckig for square, neu for new, and leicht for light. Wunderbar. But what if you want to tell someone what something is actually made of? It's so simple, you just use the word aus, which means out of. So, aus Holz means made of wood. Aus Plastik is plastic, and aus Metall means made of metal. Now let's smash all of that together into one really powerful, fluent sentence. Der Ring ist rund, ist aus Metall und ist neu. The ring is round, it is made of metal, and it is new. Do you see how easy that is? You're literally already building complex sentences. Next up is Section 3, the pronunciation secret, all about sentence stress. You know, in German, stressing the exact right word completely changes everything. Imagine you're in a situation where you have to correct someone's mistake. They ask you, ist das eine Kette? Is that a necklace? Now, you wouldn't just softly mumble no. Listen to how a native speaker does it. Nein, das ist keine Kette, das ist ein Ring. You really want to punch that negative word, keine, and punch the correct object, ring. Say it with absolute confidence. And now, the moment you have been waiting for. Section 4, the boss fight. Nicht versus Kein. So, how exactly do you say that is not a book? Well, you absolutely do not say it, das ist nicht ein Buch. No way. German actually has this evil twin negative article that swallows the words not and a into one single powerful word, kein. And it follows our gender rules perfectly. Literally, you just drop a giant letter K onto the front. Ein becomes kein. Eine becomes keine. So, das ist ein Schlüssel? Nein, das ist kein Schlüssel. Achtung, pay attention here. I know you probably thought the word for not was always nicht. And it is, but they have completely different jobs. Rule number 1, use kein or kein to negate nouns that use a, an, or no article. Rule number 2, save nicht to negate adjectives, verbs, or specific names. Let's contrast these side by side so it really clicks. Ich habe keine Zeit. I have no time. Time is a noun, so we destroy it with keine. Now compare that to das Buch ist nicht schwer. The book is not heavy. Schwer is an adjective, so we use nicht. Or, ich komme nicht aus Deutschland. Here we're negating the verb kommen, so once again we use nicht. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, the ultimate knowledge challenge to test your skills. Quick, grab a pen or open up your keyboard right now. I want you to translate these 4 specific sentences. Number 1, that is a lighter, it is made of metal. Number 2, that is not a book, it is a dictionary. And here's a little hint, use das Wörterbuch for dictionary. Number 3, the umbrella is not new. And number 4, excuse me, is that a watch? No, that is not a watch. I really want to see your mastery of this nicht versus kein rule. So drop your translations right down in the comments below, and I will personally pin the correct answers. Hey, if this rule finally clicked for you today, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future micro lessons.